Example number 7. Here we're solving for v, and when I look at this equation right now, I see that v is on the right side, and I see at the end the v is on the left side. So I'm just going to rewrite the equation so that v is on the left side to begin with. This sometimes saves you a little work in the end when you're trying to put everything in order so that the computer counts it correct. Now, if I told you that this was a two-step equation, you'd probably not believe me because this looks fairly complicated, but it's really not. What we're going to do is eliminate the subtraction first, because subtraction is the first thing that we eliminate when we think about reverse PEMDAS. If I want to eliminate a negative 16, all I have to do is add the opposite, which in this case an opposite of a negative is a positive, and I'm trying to eliminate 16t squared, so I'm going to add 16t squared. I got to make sure that I also add it to this side right here to keep my equation balanced. I know that when I simplify my left side, these two terms are going to cancel or simplify to 0, so I'm left with just v times t equals. And I've got to put my h first because h comes before t in the alphabet. So when I write this, I'm going to write it as h plus 16t squared. I didn't really even have to do anything, right? These obviously aren't like terms. Now I've got to eliminate this t. Since there's no operating sign between them, I know that it's multiplication, so I'm just going to put a dot. The inverse of multiplication is division, and I want to eliminate a t, so I got to divide by a t. Got to divide this entire side by t. In previous examples, you've seen me divide each term by what I divided the other side by. In this case, I'm just going to write it like this because neither of these terms will be able to be simplified when I divide them by a t. Now I've got v by itself equals, and I'm just going to draw an arrow because that's exactly what it equals right there. Now, when I put this into the computer, I've got to make sure that I put parentheses around these two terms because they're being divided by the same value. And I want the computer to know that I understand what order of operations are. So I'm going to write parentheses h plus 16t squared, parenthesis, backslash t. Example number 8. R equals L plus 3W divided by 2. I see right away that W is on the left side in the end, so I'm going to rewrite this with the W on the left side to begin with. 3W divided by 2. Again, this might save me some work in the end. Equals R. Now I've got to eliminate what comes first in reverse PEMDAS. Before I do anything, I'm going to put this in parentheses because they're being divided by the same number. Now this makes it a little easier. I know that I've got to eliminate division first. Inverse of division is multiplication. I'm going to eliminate a 2, so I got to multiply by a 2. I make sure that I do it to both sides. Now I can simplify. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And L plus 3W divided by 1 is 1. And 1 times L plus 3W is just L plus 3W equals R times 2 can be rewritten as 2R. Now I've got to eliminate either this L or the 3. Since the 3 is attached through multiplication and this L is being added, I'm going to eliminate the L first. If I want to eliminate a positive L, I just need to add the opposite, which is a negative L. I'm going to make sure I do the same thing to this side, but I don't need to write it as plus and negative because I know plus and negative is just subtraction. Simplify my left side. Negative L plus L is, simplifies to 0, so I'm just left with positive 3W. 2R minus L. These aren't like terms. However, L comes before R in the alphabet, so I'm going to go ahead and commute this term in front. I make sure that I include the sign. So I've got negative L plus 2R. And I've got to eliminate this 3 since it's being multiplied. I know the inverse of multiplication is division. I'm going to divide by 3. Divide by 3. I can simplify my left side to W equals, and I'm going to write it right here, W equals. Since both of the terms in the numerator are being divided by the same value, I'm going to put it in parentheses, negative L plus 2R, parentheses, divided by 3. Example 9, y equals mx plus b. This is actually slope-intercept form. We'll learn about that fairly soon. It's asking us to solve for m. I see that m is on the right side, but it's on the left side in the end, so I'm going to rewrite this as mx plus b equals y. And I'm going to eliminate my addition first. Since it's a b that's positive, I just need to add the opposite, which in this case is a negative b. Over here, I'm just going to write it as subtraction. I don't need to write it as plus and negative. I can simplify my left side to just mx equals y minus b. Well, b comes before y in the alphabet, so I've got to commute it. I got to make sure that I include the sign in front of what I'm commuting. And I can rewrite this as negative b plus y. And now I've got to eliminate this x. Since it's being multiplied to the m, I know I got to divide to get rid of it, and I'm going to divide by what I want to eliminate. Got to make sure I do the entire side by the same, divide by the same exact value. I can simplify this to m equals, nothing here can be simplified, but I know since both of the terms in the numerator are being divided by the same value. When I type my final answer, after I simplify both sides, when I type this into the answer box over here, I've got m equals, and I've got to make sure that I put my numerator in parentheses since both of the terms are being divided by the same value, negative b plus y backslash x. Example 10. I see already that the variable I'm solving for is on the same side that it's going to be in when we finish. So I'm going to rewrite it just the same. Now I've got to eliminate what comes first in reverse PEMDAS. I'm going to throw this in parentheses since they're both being divided by the same value. I'm going to get rid of my division before my parentheses, so I'm going to multiply by 3, multiply by 3. I'm going to simplify because 3 divided by 3 is 1. And I've got x plus y here equals 5 times 3 is 15. Now I've got to eliminate this y. Since the y is positive, I know that if I add the opposite, which is a negative, that they're going to simplify to 0. I've got to make sure that I do the same thing to the other side. So I'm going to actually just write it as plus and negative because some of you guys might be like, why does he do one thing on one side and something different? I'm not doing anything different. It's actually just subtraction, right? So I've got x equals, and because this is a number and this is a variable, I've got to make sure I put it in standard form. So I'm going to go ahead and commute this negative y in front of this positive 15. So I can rewrite this as negative y plus 15. And I go ahead and I type in this exactly as it is into the answer bar. X plus 4y equals negative 4. Again, the variable that I'm trying to isolate is on the same side that it's going to be on in the end. So I can just rewrite this as 4y equals negative 4. I'm going to eliminate this x before I eliminate the 4 because the x is being added. Since the x is positive, I know that if I add the opposite, they're going to simplify to 0. I've got to make sure that I do the exact same thing to the other side. I just condensed the double sign in my head. Negative x plus x is 0. What I'm left with is just 4y equals, and again, variables come before numbers in standard form. So when I commute this term right here, I've got to make sure I include the sign that belongs to it in front, and I can rewrite this as negative x minus 4. And now I got to get rid of this 4, which is being multiplied to the y, so I know I need division to eliminate the multiplication, and I'm going to divide by 4. This time when I divide this side by 4, I'm going to divide this to each term individually because there's one of these terms that I know that I'm going to be able to simplify. 4 divided by 4, that's 1. 1 times y is just y, so I have my y over here. Now negative x divided by 4, that can't be simplified, so when I type this into my answer box, I'm going to write negative x divided by 4 minus, and 4 divided by 4 is just 1. Last example, here we have a equals x plus y divided by 2, and we're solving for y. I see that y is on the right side. In the end, it's going to be on the left, so I'm going to rewrite it on the left to begin with. Sorry. X divided by 2 equals, and I'm going to try to do the No, not good enough, eh? And equals a. Okay? Because both of these terms are being divided by the same value, I'm going to go ahead and throw that in parentheses first. Now I know that I need to eliminate division with multiplication before I do anything. I'm going to multiply by 2 to eliminate the 2. Do it to the other side. I'm going a little faster now because I think you should probably feel a little bit more comfortable with this. A times 2 can be written as just 2a. Now I've got to eliminate this x. Since it's being added, I know that if I add the opposite of a x, which is a negative x, okay, when we simplify, that's going to go to 0. Do the same exact thing to the other side. I have y equals 2a minus x. If you did write a plus a negative here, just make sure that when you type in that final answer into the answer bar, you simplify it to just a minus.